to argue about whether the Trinity is in the Hebrew Bible. I'd love to debate you on that.
Most definitely, I'd like to debate you on that one. You know Hebrew, right?
I do indeed.
Precisely. That's why you're going to make my case for me. Please, you'll break my heart if you like. Can you tell us what the Hebrew is for my maker? Is it singular or plural participles?
It's either causal or plural.
Okay, but you're going to go with me that it's plural.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Can you tell us what the word here for bara is?
Echo, plural. Yeah.
Plural. So literally, it's remember your creators, right?
In the literal way.
My makers, your creators.
Yeah, it's written in the plural.
So Sam's argument is essentially, if you don't understand, with Ecclesiastes 12:1, where it is translated in English as creator in the singular, but in the Hebrew the word is bareka, which is the masculine plural construct, which literally would render it as creators, which Sam wants to use to prove there's some sort of multiplicity within the Godhead. Now, the issue with this is that we see instances where singular subjects are plural pronouns predicated to them. For example, in Exodus 7:1, Moses is called Elohim. Now, Elohim is the masculine plural of Eloh, which means God. But if we take Sam's logic, then that would literally mean Exodus 7:1 should be translated as, I have made you as gods to Pharaoh. Now, obviously, Moses is not multiple persons or not multiple gods. Rather, the Christian would have to concede that a singular subject can have a plural pronoun predicated to them. Same thing would apply to God. And even Albert Barnes, who is a 19th century biblical scholar, actually mentions this in his commentary on Isaiah chapter 54, verse 5, where he actually says that this is in reference to the pluralis excellente, aka the majestic plural. Now, this also appears in Ecclesiastes 12:1, the verse that Sam cited. Now, he actually goes even further and says that Yahweh here is actually in the absolute singular because he's addressed as Yahweh of hosts. And there is no way a Christian can derive the doctrine of the Trinity from this passage, and that this would have been the understanding of the ancient writers.
Because I want to now ask you another thing. What does Jacob say? Their God had been revealed to me.
Yeah.
What is the Hebrew for revealed to me?
It's a plural verb.
Okay, so literally it says, their God, they had been revealed to him. Who's they?
God.
Can you explain why in verse 1 it says, Elohim said to Jacob, arise and go up to Bethel, and abide there, and make an altar to El, who appeared to you. Now here it's plural, Elohim. But then it doesn't say, go make an altar to the Elohim who appeared to you. It says, go to make an altar to the El, singular, appeared to you.
Yeah, so he actually just demonstrated his misunderstanding of Hebrew, which is ironic because he's speaking to a Jew and accusing him of not knowing the Hebrew. So he's quoting Genesis 35, verse 7, where it says that God revealed himself to Jacob. And the word for revealed, the verb in Hebrew, is niglu. Now, niglu is in the masculine plural, which is what Sam wants to render as God, they revealed themselves to him. Now, the issue with this is, let's take another passage, for example, in 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 13. Basically, King Saul goes to the witch of Endor and tries to raise Samuel from the dead. Now, when Samuel raises from the dead, in verse 13, the witch says, behold, I see Elohim, a divine being, ascending out of the ground. Now, why is that important? Well, the word for ascending in the Hebrew is olim. Now, olim is plural. Now, it appears, I believe, 6 other times in the Hebrew Bible. For example, in Deuteronomy 1:28, when it says, we go up, or 1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 11, when it says, they go up, or 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 3, when it says, 3 men go up, or 2 Chronicles 20, verse 16, when it says, they go up, and then Jeremiah 47, verse 2, when it says, waters, plural, will rise. Now, the woman could have used the singular Allah, which actually appears in the same chapter Sam quotes in Genesis 35, verse 1, when it tells Jacob to Allah, to go up to Bethel. But the woman chooses to use the plural olim, meaning the passage should literally be translated as, I see Samuel, them ascending. I saw them ascending. Now, obviously, Samuel isn't multiple persons. So it becomes very clear that, in the same way, God appearing to Jacob was a majestic event, and therefore the author could use the plural, just like the witch did to Samuel. Now, the other explanation is, let's grant the fact that this is plural, that niglu literally means multiple beings. I have no issue with this. Remember in Genesis 35:7, who appeared to Jacob? It's Elohim. Now, why is it interesting? Well, if you read Psalm chapter 8, verse 5, angels are called Elohim, gods. And this is important. Why? Well, because if you read earlier in Genesis 28, verses 12 to 13, Jacob, the same prophet, has a dream, and he sees this ladder going to heaven, and he sees the angels of God, Elohim, ascending and descending upon it, and he sees Yahweh God, also Elohim, on the top of the ladder. So therefore, Elohim, they revealed themselves to Jacob. This is something we see in Genesis 28. It doesn't mean there's a trinity or multiple personal being, right?
Genesis 31, 10 to 13. An angel of God said to me in a dream, Jacob. And I said, here I am. And he said, now lift your eyes and see that all he-goats, mounting the animals, are ringed, speckled, and striped. For I have seen all that Lebanon is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel. Who's the God of Bethel?
So again, lastly, the angel saying, I am the God of Bethel does not prove that he is the God of Bethel. Well, how do I prove this? Well, if you read Exodus 6, verses 6 to 8, using the same logic, God commands Moses to say to Israel, I am Yahweh. Now, this is enacted in Deuteronomy 29, verses 5 to 6. Now, is Moses actually Yahweh because he says, I am Yahweh? No, of course not. He's speaking the words of God as an agent on behalf of God. In the same way, if you read Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 3, Nehemiah sends messengers to the enemies of Judah saying, behold, I am doing this great thing, right? Obviously, the messengers are speaking as Nehemiah, but it doesn't mean they are Nehemiah, and it's understood that the messenger is not the one who sent them, rather he is speaking on their behalf. So the same thing with the angel. But even then, we see an instance in Genesis 22, 15 to 16, when the angel calls to Abraham, he actually says, by myself I have sworn, declares the Lord. So he quotes the Lord and speaks on his behalf in the same way the prophets do, for example, in Judges chapter 6, verses 8 to 10. So clearly, Sam does not know his Bible as well as he thinks he does, and he takes things out of context. This guy's a joke, a jahil. May Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.